Some people cover their evil ways with outward acts of goodness. Who will uncover their deceit and demand justice? The people learned through Amos that God will not be fooled by insincere offerings and will severely punish all sinners. Today's Keep in Mind verse reads, "But let judgment run down as waters, and righteousness as a mighty stream." Amos chapter 5, verse 24. Amos begins chapter 5 as a eulogy for the dead nation of Israel. Israel was not yet dead, but the lament was meant to impress on the nation the severe danger it was in. The death of Israel is described as the death of a virgin. The death of a virgin would have been considered particularly tragic because she had no children to carry on her memory. This type of death is distinctly permanent. Furthermore, the dead virgin is described as having been left lying in a field unburied. To leave a body unburied would have been a shocking and appalling image to consider. Yet this is how the demise of Israel is described. Its depraved moral climate and refusal to turn back to God had indeed set it on the path of destruction. Israel could not trust in the power of its armies to defend them against the coming destruction. Amos declared that their armies will be systematically cut down in battle. Their trust in false gods was misplaced. The Israelites were known to visit idol temples in Bethel, Gilgal, and Beersheba. But Amos announced that each of these is set for destruction as well. Their only hope was to return to God. Amos repeatedly declared the way of escape for some. If they will seek after God, they will live. Despite Amos's lament, he presented God's offer to save a remnant who will turn to him. The seeking of good is more than just an outward action. It must radiate from an attitude of the heart. Amos uses strong words here. Seeking good is spelled out as hating evil. In other passages of the Old Testament, this word is used to refer to an enemy. The Israelites had been friends with evil and stood on the side of injustice. By using this word, Amos confronts them and challenges them to choose sides. Outwardly impressive religious acts of goodwill that are selfishly done do not move the heart of God. The phrase, "your feast days," refers to the three main festivals that God established in Israel: Passover, Pentecost, and the Feast of Tabernacles. Israel was abusing all of these festivals at this time. God rejected what Israel did in these feasts, which had a form of godliness, but lacked the power thereof. God himself may establish events, activities, or procedures, but his people can pervert, abuse, and misuse them to achieve their own selfish ends. The Lord would not be pleased with any of the worship practiced on those days because of the absence of justice and right living. God illustrates the nature of judgment, or justice, and righteousness by using the phrases "run down as waters" and "as a mighty stream," which speak of the ongoing and unobstructed movement of an ever-flowing body of water. The Lord has already laid out the stipulations of justice in his covenant, and he is waiting for his people to fill the dry and barren land with justice and righteousness. Here's our lesson. Most Christians have no problem determining the difference between good and evil. In fact, even non-believers often choose to do the right thing. But merely choosing not to do evil is different than actively opposing evil. Opposing evil requires a level of conviction that goes beyond a simple understanding of right and wrong. It is God's desire that Christians would not only seek to do good, but also oppose evil and injustice. We are charged with standing for justice in our communities and in our world. It is often difficult in the moment to choose to love good and hate evil. One way to be prepared for those times and situations where we have to make decisions is to determine what is good or evil. Thank you for listening and subscribing to iLights. May the peace of God, which passes all understanding, keep your hearts and minds through Christ Jesus.